Hey, buddy, get ready with me while I get ready for New Year's Eve in Tulum, Mexico. I did not think that I was going to go out, but I'm going to grab dinner with some of my girlfriends. And I figured I'd take this time to tell you about what it's really been like living in Tulum for the past 2.5 months, más o menos, because it's been fucking dramatic. So let's start with today, because today I made a very idiotic mistake with my scooter. And I'm just going to randomly chat with you and tell you about some of the crazy shit that's been going on. So starting with today. So today I woke up and I went to a bar class with my girlfriend, which, by the way, was absolutely crazy. So I got up. I did my morning routine. Every morning I do my gratitude journaling, and I basically just journal a whole page of gratitude, and I say I'm grateful for all these things. I write about 25 lines. And then I took a quick shower and I got into my workout clothes and I went to bar. And usually every time I've done a bar class, it's been really easy. And so literally this morning I was like, maybe I'll just work out before I go to bar. But I woke up too late, and so I just went straight to bar, and oh my gosh, they kicked my absolute ass. It was so intense. And then after bar, by the way, when I drove to bar, I rode my little scooter to the bar place. It's about 6 minutes, and I drive up the street that's kind of a bit of a quieter street, and then I go into kind of this main road with a bunch of cars, a bunch of trucks and everything, and I'm literally just this tiny scooter with my helmet driving down the road. I went to the bar place, did bar, absolutely fucking kicked my ass. And then I went back home and I got a little bit of breakfast. So fun fact, I just went to Tijuana for a week, the north of Mexico, to visit with some friends. And when I got back to my apartment, my fridge was broken. And before I had gone to Tijuana, I had gone to this place called Gypsy Market in Tulum. That is a nicer grocery store. I think Whole Foods in Tulum. And I bought all these expensive groceries. And when I got back, the fridge was broken. And so I literally opened the fridge. You guys, it fucking reeked because I had I forget what it was. It was some kind of burgers in the freezer. I had a bunch of stuff in the fridge, and everything just essentially rotted. There was molding food in the fridge. So I had to take it out. So anyway, today, I've had no groceries. I have no fridge, and so I've had to eat out. And so this morning when I got back from bar, I went to 7-Eleven and bought some really nasty food for breakfast. I got this little yogurt drink, and then I got this little chocolate croissant that's this really processed thing in this plastic container. And I also got myself a little decaf coffee from 7-Eleven. And I bought a whole thing of milk because there was no milk to make the decaf coffee with at 7-Eleven, of course. And so I got a whole thing of milk, heated it up, put it in my coffee. And then in the end, I had to actually throw out the whole milk because today someone was supposed to come look at the fridge at 2 to 3 p.m. But the thing with Mexico is you cannot rely on people to come fix shit for you immediately, especially not on New Year's Eve. And so, of course, no one came. And I basically just had to throw out the milk after a few hours because I have no fridge. And that's one of the things with Mexico is you, again, cannot expect for things to be fixed immediately. You can't expect people to show up. There's actually this phrase called ahorita, which kind of means now, but it's got people use it a lot in Mexico. I lived in Spain for 4 months this year, and I've never heard anyone say this word. It's a very Mexican term, but basically it means now, but it kind of means in the next hour, in the next 3 hours, in the next tomorrow, in a week, never. And so it's this term that is very expressive of Mexican culture, which is we'll be there, but we might not be there. And so obviously no one came to fix the fridge. I'm just going to pluck my eyebrows because they are really fucking disgusting and I need to look my best for New Year's. And so basically I had this weird breakfast, and then because my apartment is really not great, one of the things that has been an issue with it has been just so many problems. The sink in the kitchen is leaking. When I got here, a lot of the decorations are actually moldy. There's like really big mold issues in Tulum because it's so hot. And I think not everyone uses aircon all the time. So things just get really moldy very quickly. And so I had to like throw out a bunch of the decorations, ask for replacements. Um, Also, like sometimes, like right now, I actually don't have hot water. So I've been showering for the past 2 days since I got back from Tijuana and just like cold water. So I just took like a hella cold shower. And and then the other issue is in front of my apartment, there is a street, obviously, as we know. And at the front, in the street, there is a massive flood. Like I'm talking, the street is covered in water. Like the water is probably like this high in some places. And so the way to get around in Tulum is with a scooter. It's like a little kind of like think about like a moped, like a little like Vespa type of like scooter thing. And so every day that I get home, I have to take my scooter through this water. And it's really dangerous because when you have a lot of water in the street, you can't see what's underneath the water. And so there could be a lot of rocks, there could be a lot of holes. And so I have this like one route that I take through the water to make sure that I don't like fall and basically break myself. And that's been really annoying me. And so essentially, I am looking for a new place. I just got this place a month ago, and already I'm having to look for a new place because there are just too many things that are broken. And right now, for example, the fridge is not working. Also, I don't have laundry in my apartment. They were supposed to put it in a few weeks ago, but that did not happen yet. Welcome to Mexico. And so basically, after I took my shower and had breakfast, I went to check out a new apartment with a broker. Another really fun thing about Tulum, which I personally love, is renting an apartment is so easy. So I have lived all across the world. I've actually lived in like 9 countries. And usually when you're renting an apartment, you have to show your bank records. You have to show all this documentation. You have to get approved and everything. In Tulum, it's different. So in the rest of Mexico, apparently they do follow like a proper process to rent out an apartment. But in Tulum, because there's, I don't know, I guess like so much demand or something, or it's like really relaxed here, you don't need shit. So when I rented this apartment, they didn't ask for anything. Literally, the realtor was like, oh, like you seem like I could trust you. Here you go. Just send me a photocopy of your passport and here's the contract. And basically just like move in whenever you want. And so basically it's like super easy. And so I went to go look at this other place. And I was like chatting with the realtor, and I didn't really love the place. I'm going to keep looking. But yeah, so I went to look at the place because I'm looking for somewhere to move into literally the next week. And I am going to continue looking, obviously. So that was something that I did. And then after that, I went and hung out on my rooftop and I called my family. I called my parents. I called my aunt. And I was just basically like tanning. I got like hella sunburn, as you can see if you're watching the video. I did not put on sunscreen. And so I got this like really ugly burn on my chest. I always put sunscreen on my face because I don't want to age. But the rest of my body, I'm sometimes lazy. And so I just like hung out on the rooftop for a bit. And after that, I was really hungry, so I went to go get some lunch. This is where I made a really idiotic mistake. So I literally, every time that I go anywhere, I am so paranoid about losing my apartment key and also my scooter key. But for some reason, I was literally stone cold sober, you guys. Like, I was not freaking like drunk even. I went to get lunch. I had a mezcalita at lunch. But before I got to lunch, I parked my scooter. I sat down at the restaurant and I ordered my food. I ordered a mezcalita. I had a mezcalita. I hung out at the restaurant, finished my food, and I walked back to the scooter. And I was like, where the fuck is my key? Could not find my key, looked through my bag, went back to the restaurant, looked around my table, asked the servers. I was like, does anyone see the scooter key? And everyone's like, nope, I have not seen a scooter key. And I was like, well, fuck. The thing is, I have a spare scooter key because I actually bought this scooter because initially I was renting a scooter when I was first here for a month. But then after I decided to officially live here, I decided to buy a scooter because it's going to be way too expensive to keep renting a scooter. So I bought the scooter, so I have a spare scooter key, but I couldn't leave the scooter there because there was the key somewhere around. So if someone finds the scooter key and they match it with the scooter, they can essentially steal my scooter, right? So I was walking around the scooter, I was looking around, I'm like, where the fuck is the key? And this guy is just staring at me and he's like, did you lose your scooter key? And I'm like, yes. Like, how do you know? So before I get into this whole situation, there's a thing in Mexico called maña, which is basically like a trick. It's like it's like a trick that people like, it's like various tricks that people use to either like get money out of you or to like just get things out of you. And so you have to be really careful and like aware of when people are kind of trying to like screw you over essentially. And this is kind of the case in a lot of like developing countries, right? It's not special to Mexico. I grew up in Asia. I'm from Croatia. There's a lot of like mañas all over the world as well. But anyway, so it's kind of like, okay, does someone, like, you always have to just be kind of like a little bit on guard, right? So this guy was like, oh, like, did you lose your scooter key? And I was like, I did. And he's like, I have your scooter key. And I was like, what? And literally he's like, how much are you going to pay me to give you your scooter key? And I was like, fuck, like there's a maña. There we go. Of course, like he's going to try to make money off of this. And obviously I looked kind of like visibly upset and I was like, okay, well, like how much do you want? Like I need the fucking scooter key. So like, you're going to give it to me. But then he was like, I'm not that type of person. I'm going to give it to you, but like, you need to be really fucking careful. And so he literally gave me the scooter key and he's like, you need to be careful. And because that is honestly so rare, like so many people could have literally just taken my scooter key and just like screwed me over. I decided to basically compensate him for the fact that he actually just gave me my scooter and didn't just steal it. And so I told him, I was like, I'm going to go back and I'm going to be back in like 10 minutes. I live 2 minutes away. I'm just going to like grab some cash because like I want to freaking reward you for the fact that you're holding on to my scooter key. Apparently some girl had found it and given it to him because he works there. So he was going to see who was going to grab the scooter. And he actually didn't believe me. He was like, yeah, you're not going to come back, whatever. Here's your scooter key, like Happy New Year or whatever. And I was like, no, I'll be back. And so literally in 10 minutes I came back and I actually gave him 1,000 pesos, which is like around like a little over 40 US dollars. Because the thing is, it probably would have like cost me more to replace the scooter key, or at least like, I don't even fucking know how much it would have been. But at that point, I'm like so grateful. And to be honest, like 1,000 pesos is not really like a lot for me. And also like I believe in compensating people who have done a good deed like that. And so I came back and it was actually really funny. He was like, oh my gosh, like I did not expect you to come back. And he's like, you need to be really careful. I'm like, I know it's been a really stressful day. Like my apartment's all over the place. And like, I need to like find a new apartment. It's New Year's Eve, like all this stuff. I just got back from Tijuana. And so I gave him like 1,000 pesos and he was very grateful. And it was funny because he actually thought that I didn't live in Tulum and he thought I was renting the scooter. So he's like, oh, like you need to be really careful. And I was like, no, like I bought the scooter. And he's like, oh shit, you live here. And I was like, yeah. And like, yeah, anyway, so we had this like little chat. And so that was like super stressful, but things turned out because I am always guided by the universe. And so that was a really fucking stressful situation. I also want to tell you about yesterday. So one of the things that is a very popular side gig in Tulum is to rent out scooters. So right now in Tulum, we are approaching high season, which means that a lot of people are visiting Tulum. So a lot of tourists are coming. A lot of people are coming here for New Year's and for January, February, and so it gets really busy. And when it gets busy, a lot of people want to rent scooters. So like I said, I literally just went to Tijuana for a week, and when I came back, you guys, it's like night and day. Tulum has suddenly gotten so busy. I live right above a 7-Eleven, and that 7-Eleven is always packed now, day and night. And even the streets, like there's just so many people. And one of the things also is people are looking for scooters. So the thing with Tulum is a lot of the ways that the services work is it's based on WhatsApp groups. And so of course I'm part of a lot of WhatsApp groups, the Tulum expat community, Tulum tribe sharing, Tulum conscious community, Girls Marketplace, Girls Rideshare, and one of those as well is Scooter Rentals Tulum. And in this WhatsApp group, it's basically just people either asking to rent scooters or ATVs or cars or whatever. And I have noticed a marked difference between how many people are looking for scooters. And so a really big business in Tulum is to rent out scooters for the day, for the week, for the month. And so yesterday I decided, so before I went to Tijuana, I actually bought myself a scooter. Like I said, I'm not going to keep renting a scooter. I bought myself a scooter. The crazy thing is, this is why I fucking love Mexico. The crazy thing with Mexico is technically you're not allowed to register your scooter in your name as a non-Mexican resident. So you can't get the factura, which is basically the registration and the plates of your scooter. And so when I was buying the scooter, I thought that I would have to put it in the name of someone who was a Mexican resident, which is obviously super annoying. But when I got to the place before I went to Tijuana, my friend asked, like, oh, could you possibly put it in her name? And they were like, yeah, we can put it in her name. They basically have like a third party guy who essentially processes, it's all like legal documentation that he creates, but it's technically like illegal the way they do it. But they basically create the factura documentation for you in your name, even though you're not a Mexican resident. And so I managed to get a scooter in my name, which is amazing because then I don't have to rely on anyone. And so because of that, I was like, okay, I'm going to just basically buy 2 more scooters because I'm going to rent them out, especially during high season. Sorry, this is like opening a little bit here. And so yesterday I went to go buy 2 new scooters. So scooters are like, there was like a really good deal on scooters. The specific model that I have, which is like this really nice model. And it's like really basic. It's like a really like nice sturdy scooter and like actually looks really cute. And so yesterday I went to buy 2 new scooters for my new little side gig. And for some reason, I could not process my credit card through them. And when I bought my initial scooter a week ago, everything worked fine. I paid with credit card. It was totally fine. I got the scooter because they had it in inventory. This time they didn't actually have any in inventory, so they told me they'll just give it to me 4 days later. I'm going to get them on Friday. But when I processed my credit card, the credit card, it got charged, but then it refunded right away. And so funny thing is, after that happened, the guy who was processing it, I speak Spanish, but I had a friend call him to kind of talk through some of the things just to make sure that everything's good. So he kind of had the impression that maybe I didn't speak a lot of Spanish, even though I was speaking Spanish to him. And so when the credit card got processed and kind of like refunded, he was waiting for me for literally 20 minutes for me to get some sort of confirmation from the bank, but he didn't tell me that. And he was just like staring at his computer. So anyway, 20 minutes later, I'm like, what are we waiting for? And he's like, I'm waiting for you to get a confirmation from your bank. And I was like, well, I'm not getting anything. And so anyway, long story short, I had to call my bank and I had to confirm that I was indeed not charged and that there wasn't some kind of security flag that was on my card because I was like buying things in Mexico. And in the end, I called the bank, I confirmed I wasn't charged. And then I told them, hey, I wasn't charged, let's just process it again. And then when we processed it again, we actually used a different station and it actually worked. And you have to process each scooter one at a time. So both payments actually ended up going through, thank God. But I was literally at the place for 2.5 hours, maybe even 3 hours trying to buy fucking 2 scooters. And finally they got processed. And so that's just like one of the examples of how things work in Mexico. They're not like super fast necessarily, but I got my 2 scooters and I was able to purchase them, and I'm now going to apparently get them on Friday. The thing also with Mexico is, again, it's a little bit like the Wild Wild West. And so when I purchased my scooters, they're supposed to have sent me some sort of a receipt through WhatsApp. And the guy told me, like, you're going to get it through WhatsApp. But then I didn't get it right away. And then I'm literally leaving the scooter store. Essentially, like, I have paid for 2 scooters, which is like around like just under $2,000 US for both scooters. And I'm walking away and I essentially have no receipt, no proof of purchase of the scooter, nothing. I called my friend and I'm like, hey, like, they're not able to send me anything through WhatsApp. Like, is this good? My friend's like, well, you really need to get them to send you something. But I already asked the guy twice. I was like, can you print me something? And he's like, no, 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 like you'll get it through WhatsApp. And so me being kind of like not wanting to bother him too much, I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to trust this guy. And also I saw him put all my information in the system. So I was like, it's there. I have the credit card confirmation. I'm in the system. There's cameras. Like they know that I bought the scooter. I also actually know the manager because the first time I bought the scooter, I chatted with her. So I was like, it's surely fine, right? So this is where, honestly, my controversial opinion is that, like, in these situations, yes, of course, if you're someone who's coming from Canada or like, you know, like Europe or some kind of like very like developed, organized countries, you're going to want to get the confirmation and you're not going to leave without the confirmation. But I truly believe that like in countries like this, like you kind of just have to trust that like things have worked out, and you have to understand that like even though they can't produce you with like the proper documentation and confirmation, like the credit card statement's there, you're in the system, there's cameras, they remember you, like they're not going to just like screw you over, right? And so literally I messaged the manager 2 hours later and I was like, hey, I left the store, I bought 2 scooters, I have not gotten a confirmation yet, but can you please send me a confirmation? And she's like, yes, like tomorrow when I'm in the office, I will get them to send you a screenshot of the screen on the computer showing your orders, because they can't really produce some kind of documentation. And apparently it's because the first time my payment didn't go through, so now everything gets like blocked. I guess like the systems are a little bit outdated. And so anyway, today I got the confirmation and we're good. And so this is where like you kind of just have to trust that things are going to work, even though they're not like properly processed like they would be in like Canada or the States or Europe or whatever. And I think this honestly comes with the territory. Like you need to just be someone who is able to just kind of like roll with the punches and just trust that things are going to happen. But at the same time, you need to have your wits about you and know that if things are like really feeling sketchy, to kind of like really hold the line for yourself. So again, it's really kind of like something that you have to get used to in Mexico. By the way, I am really enjoying this drink. If you don't know what Topo Chico is a brand that creates like sparkling water, and they usually come in like this really nice glass container, and it's like a soda water that you order along with things. And apparently they do like a little alcoholic Paloma drink, which I am very much enjoying. Absolutely delicious. So I just got it at 7-Eleven downstairs and just got myself a little bit of a drink before I go for dinner with my girlfriends. But yeah, so that's been really nice. I'm trying to think what are some other things that have happened. What else about Tulum? Oh, I need to tell you guys about the time I got stuck in a ditch with my scooter. Okay, so in Tulum, there's obviously multiple places that you can live in. So I live in a neighborhood called La Veleta. And so Tulum is basically like you have the main street of Tulum. And so it's funny, I went to Tulum actually a little over a year ago, and I actually didn't like it very much. I thought it was like very dirty and just like overpriced and kind of like BS. I thought it was like really hyped up. And that time I was staying in a place called Aldea Zama, which is actually kind of like the slightly, I'm going to call it like bougier neighborhood. But I was staying in Aldea Zama. This time I'm staying in La Veleta. And so you have the main street of Tulum, and then you have like La Veleta kind of like on the west side. Yeah, west side. But then like under the, like to the right of La Veleta is Aldea Zama. And the thing with Aldea Zama is it's got like a lot of windy streets. La Veleta is like very gridded. And so one of my friends lives in Aldea Zama, and I was meeting him for coffee. And so I had to take this, like, literally it was like an 8-minute scooter ride to go meet him in Aldea Zama. And so I left like 20 minutes early. And the fun fact is I've actually met him at that specific coffee shop in Aldea Zama literally 3 weeks before. Before I go further with the story, I need to tell you, I am really bad with directions. Like, When I say I'm bad with directions, like I literally never know where I'm going. If I don't have GPS constantly, I get super lost. And so I was on my way to Aldeazama, and all I had to do was take this straight street all the way close to Aldeazama and then take this left turn. And that whole way, the streets were pretty much okay. So the thing with a lot of the streets in Tulum is they have a lot of potholes. There's not like, they're not all paved. A lot of the time it's kind of like these like unpaved roads. There's a lot of potholes. There's a lot of like pools of water because of the rain, and they don't always dry. And there's a lot of like rocks and stuff like that. So generally, sometimes the quality of the streets is like not super developed, right? Which I'm super used to now. And so the stupid thing is, the last time I went to go see him, I forgot to take the early left turn. I ended up on this like dirt road. And when I say dirt road, I'm talking there's like trash, there's like broken tiles, there's tires. Like it's literally just this massive big road of just like garbage. And the last time I did that, I realized I went the wrong way, and then I had to go back. Me being me, because I'm ridiculous, I made the same mistake again. So I'm literally headed to Aldeazama, and again, I missed the freaking left turn. And I keep going straight, and my mind did not pick up on the fact that we're on this dirt road again. And so I literally drive through this like broken tiles, like I said, tires, there's like stray dogs, there's no one there. There's like kind of like these like almost like shanty houses, like not a lot of people. And I finally make it through on my scooter through these crazy roads. Like you're literally having to navigate the scooter. Also, the scooter I was using at the time, I was renting from my friend, and the left brake was not working very well. And the thing is, the throttle is on the right of the scooter. And so I was having to use the throttle and brake with my right hand. Super dangerous. And so I basically was literally driving through this dirt road trying to pull the throttle and also brake at the same time, navigate these holes and these massive pools of water, by the way, and like stray dogs, random shit in the water, like literally could have fallen over at any point. I finally make it to the other side. I'm like, okay, let's look at the phone. And the other thing, by the way, segue, is if you don't have a Mexican physical SIM and you're using an eSIM, which I was using at the time, you will not have data on the streets. Like you will not have network because obviously there's no Wi-Fi. And so me needing freaking data all the time, I did not have any data. And so literally, but the thing is, you can still open Google Maps and you can kind of see where you are. You're not going to be able to pull up directions, but you're going to be able to see where you are. If you know where you're going, you can kind of see where you are. So I open my map and I'm like, oh my God, I am not where I'm supposed to be. I am literally way past that left turn. And so I look back and I'm like, oh no, I have to go drive through that same dirt road to go back because I missed the turn, right? So I'm like, okay, you know what? I already went through this way. Surely I'm going to be able to just go back the same way. Like if I came here safely with my scooter, I'll be able to go back. So I literally start driving back. And unfortunately, when you go the other way, it's not the same thing. And I'm literally driving through, you guys. And I go through this particular area that's like a ditch. And I drive in with my scooter and I get stuck. Like I drive the scooter in, my left foot is fully in the mud. My scooter is like full of mud. And I go to look at my phone, and of course, I have no data. There's no one around except stray dogs. I have no data. I have no way of contacting anyone. I'm late to meet my friend. I'm already like 15 minutes late. No way to contact him. No idea what I'm doing. And right there in that moment, I literally thought I was going to break down because I'm like, what am I doing in this country? What am I doing in this city? Like I was living in Vancouver and then I was living in Spain. Like I was not dealing with these situations. Like what am I doing with my life? Like low-key almost had a breakdown, but I managed to stop myself. And in the distance, I see a guy driving with his car and he's looking at me and he's probably just like, what the fuck is wrong with this white bitch just stuck in a ditch? And so I literally just yell over to him and I'm just like, ¿Puedo ayudarme con mi moto? Which is like, please help me with my scooter. And he just drives over with this look on his face like WTF. And he gets out of his car and he walks over and he literally pulls my scooter out with me. Because the thing is with these scooters, they're heavy. They're heavy. Like you cannot just lift them, especially as like, I don't know. I mean, I lift a lot of weights, but even that's like heavy for me. And so literally he like pulls the scooter out and he's like, go on the side, go back, like you'll be able to get back out there. And he like essentially saved me from this ditch. And I finally make it to Aldea Zama. I meet up with my friend for coffee. My feet are covered in mud. I literally meet my friend and I'm like, I need to go wash my feet. Like I'm filthy. And he's literally just like, what the hell is wrong with you? So hilarious. And so that was the story of me getting stuck in a ditch. And it was very stressful. But at the same time, like, honestly, I really think that situations like this just make you grow thicker skin. Living in Mexico has really pushed me beyond my comfort zone where you have to deal with situations like this. And that's just like a daily occurrence. And so if you like, I know for me, like I always wanted like a bit of an adventure and I wanted to do something that was like a little bit crazy. I always felt like Vancouver just like, I don't know, I felt like it was like a really safe place to live, you know, like everything functions perfectly. It's almost like a little bubble, you know, like you're very protected. But in Mexico, like you feel more like you're really like living on the edge. Like you're living on, you know, in the wild, wild west. You're going to encounter issues like your fridge is going to break. You're going to have a massive pool of water outside of your apartment. You're also going to, by the way, like have people who are going to like offer to help you with your scooter, which you need to be really careful of because again, that could be a maña where they're just trying to kind of like distract you in order to like maybe like, I don't know, trick you into something. And so I don't want to say that like, you know, everyone's out to get you and it's this dangerous country and like everyone's like an asshole and all this stuff. And like, that's not what I'm saying at all. I freaking love Mexican people. I think they're so freaking chill. I think they're so warm. I love them. I've like, that's why I'm living here because I think like that was honestly what sold me on Mexico. I just like love the people. Cause like I said, I lived in Spain for 4 months. Love Spain, but people in Mexico, way warmer, way friendlier. But this is just one of the things you have to deal with, right? Sometimes there's mañas. And so you have to be very kind of like, you have to have your wits about you, right? And so it's just been really interesting living in a place that is just like a little bit kind of like on the wild side, right? And so, yeah, just gonna put some blush on. But tonight for New Year's, I am literally about to go meet up with my girlfriend, the one I did bar with this morning. She actually is German, but she lived in Canada for 20 years. And she is invited me out for dinner with her girlfriends. And then there's actually like a, so where I live in Tulum is La Veleta, like I said, the neighborhood. And there are so many cool spots. What I love about La Veleta is pretty much every day of the week you can find a party. Like every Monday, there's this little pizza place by the corner. They actually don't sell alcohol, but you can buy alcohol at the bar next door. And they have a DJ every Monday. Every single Monday. So last night it was happening. I didn't go because I was tired. But every Monday they have a DJ. Every Tuesday there's a place called OG's Tulum where they have these guest bartenders that come and make these special cocktails. They have a DJ. And then basically just like every day of the week. One time on Tuesday I went to that. Oh, Tuesday also there's a place called Palma Central where you get to do salsa. So it's like this really cool place that's like outdoors. And there's like a little central area where people dance salsa. I think there's actually like even a salsa class that happens at 6 or 7 p.m. And then it's just freestyle dancing. But it's then a bunch of food trucks around it. So you can get like all this different food. There's like Japanese food, Mexican food, freaking shawarmas, like everything you can imagine. Just all these different types of food. And there's salsa. And so one night I went to Palma Central. Then I went to OG's Tulum and checked out the the bartenders with the custom cocktails and the DJ. And then I just drove around La Veleta on my scooter, and I found this place called Round Gallery, which is another one of my favorite spots in La Veleta. And they just randomly happened to have the sickest DJ on a Tuesday. Like, honestly, probably one of the best music I've heard in Tulum. And also, there's a lot of good music just on a random Tuesday, just like a DJ. They're out, like, going until like 1, 2 a.m. or something like that. I love this neighborhood because there's always something happening, which, again, double-edged sword is if you want to party, you will always find a party in Tulum. So if you're trying to be healthy, which I currently am in January and going forward, you have to kind of be really careful because you get sucked into the party lifestyle, especially now that we're approaching high season. There's more and more parties. Everyone's always out. Everyone's always drinking. The mezcalitas are absolutely incredible. And so that's just something that you need to kind of like be a little bit careful of, so that you're not constantly just partying. But anyway, so that is kind of like all I wanted to share for now. I don't usually do, like, I think this might actually be my first get ready with me video I've ever created in my life, but I wanted to kind of just like chat with you guys as I drank. I literally have 10 minutes to get to the restaurant where I'm meeting my girlfriends, but good thing is it's literally a 2-minute scooter ride away. So I'm just gonna throw on my outfit and I'm going to just go scooter over there. And like I said, it's New Year's, so I'm not trying to do anything crazy. I'm just gonna have dinner. We might go to a club that is, or it's like a bar club in La Veleta. It's literally like 2 minutes away from my house, so it's gonna be super chill. Well, it's not gonna be super chill, but it's gonna be chill because I'm close to home. Just gonna go there maybe after dinner. We'll see how I'm feeling, dance a little bit, and then go home. And that is gonna be the vibe. And then tomorrow, I booked myself a ticket at this place called Lula, which is a hotel by the beach. They have a bunch of like yoga events, all kinds of events. I booked myself for a little sunset yoga session at 4 p.m. along with like, apparently there's gonna be like ice baths and all that kind of stuff. Lula is like one of the top places that people go to for, like I said, yoga events, meditation events, spiritual events in Tulum. And so tomorrow I'm gonna be checking that out at 4 p.m. I'm very excited to celebrate the new year. And that is all I have for you guys. Okay, I'm gonna finish my Topo Chico Paloma drink, and let me know if you want me to do more Get Ready With Me videos where I just chat about random stuff about Tulum. Let me know if there's like certain things you want me to create videos around regarding living in Tulum. And I am wishing you the best. Happy New Year. And more videos coming to you, especially on the podcast and my YouTube channel. I've had so much fun recording these video podcasts as well. So if you're listening to audio, make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel where you can see the video versions of these podcasts. And Happy New Year, baddie. I'm so excited for 2025. Wishing you the best. Let's fucking absolutely kill it. And I will see you in the next one, baddie. Happy New Year.